Welcome to today's session, Pioneering the Sharing Economy. As we all know that the fourth industrial revolution is focused on the mobile mobility, and Didi is a very famous company, the largest mobility platform on the world, and 20 million out of the 30 million trips or orders come from Didi company. So we are really curious about where you're going to lead to in the future, and why or how our life is going to be influenced by the mobile trips or mobile mobility. So today we invite Jean Liu to have the discussion and the sharing here today with us. And maybe you have seen a lot of billboards on the first level, on the impact of the fourth industrial revolution on our lives. Let's look forward into the fourth industrial revolution in the future, and what it's going to do with Didi. Well, thank you for inviting me here, and because the topic for this annual meeting is on the fourth industrial revolution, and we believe that when it comes to the transportation or mobility, we will be deeply influenced by this industrial revolution. And there is also the four revolutions. The first is electrified, and the second is smart, and the third is sharing transportation. And the three transformation will reshape the landscape of transportation now. And now we are on the transportation 3.1 version, and in the future we will have the holistic scheduling, distribution of orders, and this represents the picture of the future. I don't know whether you agree with me and what it means for us. So today this is for the discussion, and first is for the transformation of the traditional problems. The first, a congestion of traffic, and we are very used to that, especially when I live in Beijing, and the congestion hours are really long each year. And we know that Hong Kong it's a very big city, and the Hong Kong people spend 700 hours that are wasted in the traffic congestion every year. And there are two major reasons causing the traffic congestion. The first is because of the rapid development of the metropolitans, and the city is getting bigger and bigger, while the transportation system is lagging behind of the development of the cities. Like those cities with over 2 to 3 million might be only 4 in the United States, but when they put in China, we have over 44 cities that have such a large population. And our cities are getting bigger and bigger, and we have a lot of issues, problems to be solved. The second is the driving habit of people, because we sometimes we make the sharp brake or jumping the queue, lacking the self-discipline, and those are the reasons that are causing the traffic congestions in China. And what are the solutions? What are the way out in the future? Let's look at the passenger load per unit of the transportation tools. That is calling for the sharing transportation, and now the 2 to 3 million people, customers of Didi, are using the sharing service. But there are still technical challenges given the accuracy of the mapping, or the routes are not sufficient. But with the build-up of our data center, I believe this will become the killer application, that is the super car sharing. And then it's the driving, super driving, because we have a lot of shortcomings when it comes to driving the cars. So the smart driving doesn't mean the unpiloted driving. I believe it is still a smart driving. It is not unmanned driving. The third is traffic lights, with the traffic lights transformation, and now a lot of governments, local governments, have been committed to the transformation of the traffic lights, and I believe this also provides a solution. And the second transformation is the traffic accidents. As we all know that we are quite used to the frequent occurrence of the traffic accidents, or the air crash, or the air or the war conflict in the Middle East. We kind of used to watch on TV to get all of the news, but we kind of used to the traffic accidents. Those tragics could hardly impress us. Well, in the future, you might feel amazed that I may die on the way home or to the work. So I believe that we need to improve the safety on the road. And because we cannot look around every directions of us, or the people get drunk, and we should come up with all the technical solutions to cover those kind of possibilities, or the exhaust. But I believe that with the penetration of electric cars or electric bicycles, the exhaust problems or waste gas problems will be dealt with. And the last issue is parking slots. Like in those international big cities, we spend a lot of time to find a right parking slot. So even 1/3 of the cars on the road are trying to locate a parking slots, and 10% of those car streams on the road are trying to locate the parking slots in a very internationalized big cities. While in the future, the ideal scenario is that you don't need not to find a parking place. So I believe that this will represent our transportation 3.0 version, bring a lot of economic benefits. Each year we may save a lot of resources, about $5 trillion. So only when we realize all these solutions to the full, but we are still looking forward to all these solutions to this ideal scenario. But in the process to the ideal scenario, what's the role of the Didi, and what challenges are you facing to make breakthroughs and to achieve the ideal scenario? And first of all, as a company, we focus on the customer values we created. We're not sitting in the room that drawing a blueprint, and we all have our way of thinking that we cannot expect everyone to be on our platform to accept what we say. That is not possible. But we want to create the better service, the more convenience for the people. For example, the people in the Southeast Asia, the healing service is very popular, but in Brazil, the minibus is more popular, and we found a strategic partner company that we have also invested in this company, and this company tried to have the strategic consulting service with us to do the survey. Well, talking about the challenges, it's more from the top level design. Well, today it's about the tolerance. But speaking of which, we can think of that from different perspectives. Well, how to strike the balance to achieve the best optimization and to meet up with the individualized demands. under different scenarios, and sometimes we hope that people could take metro or take buses to reduce the congestion. But once when the climate is not friendly, or I have my special friends to pick up, I would rather to use cars. For example, in Japan, where they have the most developed public transportation system, like the metro system. Well, Japan has the 120 million population with 80 million cars. So the ownership of the cars, in terms of ownership of the cars, Japan is similar to US, despite the highly developed public transportation system. These car drivers would get used to taking the metros, but they still buy the car and place it there for necessary use. So this case shows that sometimes there will always be special needs coming up. At the certain occasion, I need to use the cars. So we need to think that how to achieve the tolerated or inclusive development, and to meet up with the individualized needs and demand. Maybe the larger population will use the carpooling service. Well, maybe the people traditionally were not used to this kind of service, that we need to share car with strangers. But in the future, the mindset of the people will be changed, and specially designed cars will be put into the market with 20 seats or even more. And for each seat, they can have the window that they can enjoy the view, the privacy, and also have the specific doors for the seat. They don't need to get across the other passengers. Well, another point is from the top-level design point of view. The designers need to think about how to strike balance of the individualized needs, and I think this represents a big challenge. Well, please. Well, as you have mentioned, they're from a business point of view, but are there any other perspectives? Yeah, sure. From the point of view of regulators, as a business operator, we should focus on the creation of customer value, and at the same time, how to make innovations. Sharing economy is a new concept that just come up a few years ago, or the carpooling service, and all these are the symbols of the innovations. But the Chinese government is quite open-minded, and they are the first ever government in the world to legalize Didi. But when it comes to the implementation down to regional level, in the stories may be different, and locally they may have different challenges. And so from a business operator's view, we need to work together with the government, with the regulators, respect the policies of them, and also, the governments have made it very clear they will be more supportive of the innovations, and coming up with the 5-year plan for providing support. Well, the government has formulated the innovative policies, and how to make those policies more used to the needs of the sharing economy. And we have noticed the global trend that we call it adaptable management or governance. When there is occurrence of the new technologies, there are lots of uncertainties with the new technologies. We cannot use the traditional way of regulation to govern those technologies. That might risk of hampering the development of those new technologies. So should there be a holistic approach representing a big trend or big orientation that from the regulators, that with much free room of maneuver for the companies. And another point is, in the process of the regulation, they do not take the companies as someone being regulated, but the partners that they can be invited to the table, have discussions with the government and regulators. And not long ago, I visited California, visiting the California Public Affairs Commission, which is in charge of the transportation and utility. And when they were asked about the smart transportation challenges, they said quite naturally that when we encounter such problems, we will invite the companies' representatives, like from Uber and other companies, to find out the new solutions. So from your perspective, the local Chinese government, are there any further space for improvement? Yes, for many local governments, we feel quite amazed about their open-minded attitude. Like in Chengdu government, they're quite cooperative with us because they have watched and they have observed the future of the mobility of the transportation. And on our platform, we can provide a lot of mobility data and how to use our data to serve the universal mobility service, and how to cooperate together to develop the smart transportation system, smart city. And in Chengdu, there was a very notorious road that suffer from heavy congestion, that you need to pass through 6 traffic lights on the way. Well, they have the traditional designs that we have the traffic lights with a camera, and the hardwares were vulnerable to destruction. And then the adjustment of the traffic lights or the cameras are done mainly by the manual labor. And we believe that this is some place that we can do. We can help them to do the optimization through machine learning. It takes 2 to 3 months for us to improve their traffic and improve their efficiency by 10%. So I think this sets a very good example in terms of the PPP.
And in Shenzhen, we did a smart guide, traffic guide. I think there is a point of a partnership between government and enterprises, like the electric bike. You know that green energy is a big challenge. You know that we need to improve some of the technologies, and currently the price of the product is still very high. For ordinary people, they are very sensitive to the product price. Therefore, on our platform, the taxi drivers are more like to make the electric vehicles profitable. And now we are the largest the platform in the world. We have over 200,000 vehicles. In China is now the leader in that area. And last year, China sold 600,000. Therefore, these electric bikes are sort of environment friendly. I believe that the government and enterprises can always work in partnership. Well, from the perspective of public policy, and to take a step further, what local government policies are more restrictive to your companies, which you hope will be improved? Well, in general, I think people need to change their mindset. That is to say, the sharing right. What is it? As I said, that from the policy makers' point of view, they are more likely to let people take a subway or public transport system in order to avoid the traffic jam. Well, more they regulate, the more traffic jams there are. And if the people keep an open mindset, the traffic is better. Therefore, I think there are varying demand. Sharing economy at the current stage in China is the way we should walk down in the future. And according to our understanding of the sharing economy, we need to be more open-minded and inclusive. As all of you know, Didi Chuxing has grown very fast last couple of years, and you are going overseas. Recently, Didi, your company, is now setting up an academy of research in Silicon Valley. And Chinese people will feel very excited about that, because last year the data showed that China we have 120 million Chinese citizens going overseas for touring purposes, and they hope that they can get to the tourist site more quickly and cheaply. So is there a possibility that in Paris and Rio and they can get a taxi through a Didi on the cell phone? Well, it most likely, I think in the coming 2 or 3 years, that will be done. And now we are working with 5 top companies in a joint venture, and I think so our network covers the area of over 3 billion people. So a lot of people can use a Didi to hail a taxi or cab. And that is what we anticipated, actually. Now we are talking about the 4th industrial revolution, which is growing very fast. And many technologies and concepts are more associated, related. So just imagine in the coming 5 to 10 years, will Didi still remain in the transportation area or the mobility area, or are you going to do something new, like doing something, a spacecraft or some submarine things? So will Didi still be a company in the transportation area? I think going to Mars is also kind of a mobility, transportation. So transportation covers large area involving many difficult technologies. And today we are very lucky to be based in China. China, we have a large number of people, more the outing in China than any other countries. Therefore, I think China, we have the best team of talents in China than many other countries in the world, either in the artificial intelligence or in many other areas. China is leading the way in the market by creating values to our customers. We are committed to develop in this transportation area. Now, Didi, when it comes to future development, what are the main challenges are you facing? Do you have any strategic plans going forward to address these challenges? We know that the startups are growing very fast, and they are facing a lot of difficulties and challenges, like Uber and many companies. Well, for your company, how do you see the future, or your challenges, or rather? I think for the future planning, globalization is part of our strategy, corporate strategy. As I said that we are lucky to be in China with a very large market, and we are very grateful. We have, I'm sure that we're going to create values to the world customers with our products and technologies, and all these can be used worldwide. Well, one thing is that when it comes to corporate management, there's one challenge, that as a Chinese company, when talking about internationalization, we are talking about this issue for the sake of the internationalization. The thing is whether you can create value to our customers. And I'm sure that we're going to create values to our customers with our technology. The second challenge is culture, because we have many world partners from Brazil and in Africa. So we have to be inclusive. We have to be understanding to our target market. I'm sure that the culture is also improving. We have to be tolerant so as to attract more talents. So we have to think from the customer's point of view, not only for Didi, but many other companies with a global aspiration. They have to work on that. Either our academy in Silicon Valley is now attracting many worldwide talents. For instance, the Didi is now one of the first company, Didi Chuxing, in the internet area. We have the female company. We have 6,000 staff. Half of them are women. And the thing is, well, for the internet company, how the women's potential can be tapped fully to make a more reasonable arrangement for women who are working at home, and also for the pregnant or the mother, at least work one day in a week. In that way, they can strike a balance between life and work. And we are working actually for that. And I think that is also something other companies need to consider. Well, everybody is now talking about at the age of fourth industrial revolution, there are many technology issues. When thinking of Didi, you are talking about mobility. Well, for business model and technology, which is more important? Our vision is to be an international leading company promoting the fundamental changes in the transportation area. I'm sure that in the coming 30 years, there will be major changes to be happening. Well, this is our vision. Well, how are we going to materialize our vision? That is, we're going to resort to the power of customers to make true our dreams. And we have to think of the customers' values so as to develop innovative products. Well, in the first 20 minutes, we have started to understand the future, the vision of Didi in the future, and also what the challenges facing Didi in the future, including technological challenges. For we don't know how you're going to match the supply and demand with some very cutting-edge technologies. And another thing is how we're going to create an a social arrangement for its better development. And we touched upon the issue of government policy, which is indeed very important. And you have heard the speech by our premier. That China is committed to supporting the sharing economy. You know, the social change need take time, and the change of mindset, and also policy adjustment. I'm sure that the vision of Didi is also to be, I think, challenged when it comes to making it a reality. So we have to be inclusive. Well, one point I'd like to add that we have many problems. One of which is the challenges posed by the supply side structural reform. We know that sharing economy is a new thing, creating a lot of jobs. Over the last year, about 17 million drivers on our platform can get some income on the platform, and a lot of them are the man made redundant by other sectors like the steel sector. So we are trying to help them gain a new skill and to be more self-fulfilling. And that is the way we are working with the local government on how to help the local government to get through the difficult period of the supply side structural reform. We know that for the government and businesses, I think it is very important to realize those 5-point strategies. We are very glad to hear that Didi is now being internationalized. We are also hoping to see enjoy services provided by Didi in other parts of the world. So, and also the customers can also enjoy the benefit of the Didi development in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you.